How's it going, guys? It's Pride here, back with part 2 of What If Piccolo Had a Twin. In the last one, Piccolo has lost in his world tournament fight, not realizing how strong Goku has gotten, and also not realizing how Kami has changed, especially comparing his predecessor memories. Piccolo and Kami seem to have reached somewhat of an understanding, as everyone trains for the next world tournament, so that way there could be an official rematch. But before that, there is a reunion to be had. But unbeknownst to everyone, some of Goku's family will also be joining this reunion. So, without further ado, let's see how everyone's training holds up against the Saiyan invasion. A spacepod has just landed in the middle of nowhere. Stepping out of it appears to be a man with long dark hair and bizarre armor. He also seems to possess a tail. This man is known as Raditz. As he's looking around, he sees how peaceful the world is. He assumes that Kakarot must have failed his assignment. He starts to scan the area and immediately recognizes that there is a farmer with a shotgun. Already dismissing this man, as his scouter tells him that this person has a pathetically low power level. And even though Kakarot had a low power level as well, it still should be manageable as long as he wasn't going about it the wrong way. Raditz scans the area and finds a power level that is relatively high for this planet, around 420. That must be Kakarot, and so he flies over. But when he arrives, he realizes that there's no way this person can be Kakarot, as this person has 3 eyes instead of 2. Tien sees Raditz approach and immediately recognized the power difference, and he's immediately put on guard. This person that arrived out of nowhere is easily more than 3 times stronger than him. Even with all his training after the world tournament, apparently is not enough. Tien's only hope is to stall for backup, but even then he doesn't know if working together would actually achieve anything. Raditz begins to interrogate Tien, and Tien is honestly confused. He doesn't know anyone by the name of Kakarot or anyone that looks like him. Well, maybe a little bit with the tail, as he says there was someone named Goku that had it, but that's about it. And before Raditz can unleash a ki blast to destroy Tien for wasting his time, Raditz picks up another energy signature. In fact, a couple more, and they're all relatively higher than Tien's own, with one being around 740. Raditz immediately flies off after reminding Tien that he got lucky. Over at Roshi's Island, Goku has just arrived, and in tow with him is Gohan, and everyone is surprised at seeing this small child that shares a resemblance to Goku. Another addition to the reunion is Kami. Goku's only slightly surprised, as he wasn't sure that Kami would show or not. And to be fair, Kami wasn't either. His stance as the Guardian is supposed to make him a little impartial, but he can't help the fact that he does feel like he's made friends with Goku and now Krillin, after training with them for so many years. And now that he's here, he's actually glad that he showed up, as he can tell that Goku hasn't truly been slacking off, even though he started a family. And as the 3 starts talking to each other and reconnecting, they start sizing each other up. Kami is a lot stronger than what he was before, however, not by an overwhelming degree. It's actually Krillin that shows true growth. As Goku starts sparring with him, he realizes that Krillin has gotten a lot stronger, and this makes Goku excited, wanting to get back to some real training, especially with a world tournament that is going to be coming up pretty soon. For a moment, he wonders how strong Piccolo has gotten, and he's actually excited for that too. But before he can ask Kami, a stranger arrives. It is Raditz, and it only takes him one good look at Goku to realize that this is in fact his brother. As Raditz says, "Ha ha ha, finally I found you, Kakarot. You look just like the old man. I see that there are a few people on this planet that can give you a hard time. Tell me, is that why this planet isn't conquered? If so, then with my help, in about a month's time we can have it conquered." Goku doesn't know what this stranger's talking about. Brother looks like his old man. He's calling him Kakarot. Everyone's confused about this stranger's appearance, especially when he starts calling Goku by a different name. The only reason they don't think this person is delusional is because 1, he's really strong, and they can all sense that, and 2, this person has a tail, just like when Goku had back in the day, and realize that Gohan also has a tail. There seems to be some truth to this person's word. Goku tells Raditz that he has no idea what he's talking about, and that conquering Earth is off the table, regardless if Raditz is family or not. That's when Raditz notices that Goku doesn't have a tail, but the small kid next to him does, meaning that this is Raditz's nephew. He begins to laugh at this, and threatens to take the kid away if Goku doesn't get in line. With these words, everyone is now prepped to fight. Seeing this, Raditz makes his first move, as he blitzes towards Goku, Goku barely being able to see this attack, but manages to partly block the blow. Raditz is not concerned by this, as he continues to charge past Goku and aim for the boy. However, before Raditz can reach him, a barrier appears between him and Gohan, made by Kami, As Kami says, I'll protect the kid. You two show him the results of your training. Krillin also enters the fray. And with Goku's help, they push Raditz off the island and above the water. Unlike Krillin and this stranger, Goku hasn't truly mastered the art of flight. However, he does feel himself being lifted and assisted, and feeling the energy around him, he does realize that Kami is helping him from the back line. The fight is intense, and Raditz is struggling a little bit more than wants to admit. Even though he is stronger than them by far, them being able to coordinate with each other, and them being relative to his power level, is making it a challenging fight, at least for him, where they're putting everything they have on the line. Getting annoyed, Raditz then unleashes a double Sunday, but Krillin and Goku respond in kind with a Kamehameha. Raditz sees that their power level spikes after using that technique, which is strange as he didn't think their power level can fluctuate, making them momentarily stronger than what he predicted, and forcing them to actually go all out, targeting the weakest person first, which is Krillin. Even with Kami's help, Goku can't get to Krillin fast enough before he's overwhelmed, and Raditz wants to finish him right then and there so that way he can focus on Goku. But before Raditz can unleash a point-blank Saturday crush at Krillin, he hears a voice behind him saying, "I think that's enough." And the arm reaches down to Raditz, elongates, and wraps around, pulling Raditz away from Krillin. He seems to be a lot stronger, now really close to Goku's power level, and as Raditz looks up at Piccolo and notices the green alien, he sees that a striking similarity to the other one. Piccolo and Kami look identical, now that Kami has fully matured. However, on close inspection there are some notable differences. Kami is a lot slimmer than Piccolo, and Piccolo is a slightly darker green. But other than that, on a glance, you really wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And in all honesty, Raditz can care less, as he now sees is now a 3 versus 1 fight. Really, it's a 4v1. Raditz is starting to realize that his plan of recruiting Kakarot might just be impossible. Piccolo still has his arm wrapped around Raditz, and Goku and Krillin are now both rushing towards Raditz. No longer taking things lightly, he decides to unleash his full power and stop holding back on everyone as he pulls against Piccolo's arm with such force that it rips it clean off. That momentarily shocks everyone around besides Piccolo, as he's not really showing too much of a reaction to this. Raditz then uses this moment to disengage and start flying away, with everyone kind of following in tow, as they can't really let someone like this loose on the planet. And as they're getting further away from the island, Raditz realizes that they're having a hard time catching up to him. Trust me, they can't fly as fast as he can, but they must have some way of tracking him, like he can track them via his scouter. He shares his discoveries out loud just in case, so that way his scouter can record everything that is happening. But he has an idea. Realizing that he's far faster than them, he makes a roundabout way to the island that is now defenseless, besides for Kami. As he lands, he sees that there's a protective barrier again over the entire island, but he knows that Kami can't be this strong. So without any hesitation, he slams into the barrier, and after a moment he breaks through and grabs the kid and flies off yet again. This time, not towards his space pod, but on the opposite side of the planet. Everyone else is giving chase, now including Kami, as Gohan has been abducted, not knowing what Raditz is trying to do. The sky is slowly darkening as they are flying across the horizon, and soon Raditz spots something that he was hoping to see all along, the moon. He lands in the barren wasteland and throws Gohan, who has been crying, away from him and tells him to look up at the sky. That's where his father is at. Gohan, not knowing any better, looks and sees the moon for the first time. By the time everyone arrives, it is already too late, as Raditz and Gohan are amidst their transformation into a grade 8. Before Raditz's transformation is complete, he tells Goku that he should have agreed to his proposal, and it says, "Haha, don't worry, I'll raise your son. He'll be a far better Saiyan than you'll ever be." Krillin, Kami, Piccolo, and Goku are now facing 2 grade 8, both of them mindless seemingly. However, one is far stronger. Goku looks to the rest of them and says, "I'm sorry, but I gotta take care of Gohan. I'll be as quick as I can." Goku goes over to distract his son, who is now causing havoc across the land, and now seeing Goku, tries to attack him. And this is actually a tough fight for Goku, as he doesn't want to hurt his son, and Gohan is actually relatively strong in this grade 8 form, like absurdly so. More power than what Gohan has ever shown in his entire life. The more Gohan rages, the more it's becoming apparent that he's actually getting stronger, to the point where Gohan is actually stronger than Goku. Over with Raditz and the rest, they don't even know how to accurately fight this monster. All of their attacks are doing next to no damage, as not only is Raditz a lot stronger, but he's also 10 times more durable, making this fight far too intense. Luckily, Tien arrives soon after with Chaozu. This relieves the edge a little bit, but not too much, as everyone is mainly taking turns distracting the monster in front of them. Thankfully, Raditz isn't in his right mind, as this fight would no doubt be a lot harder than what it is. Krillin eventually proposes the idea of either cutting off their tails or blowing up the moon, as he tells him that this was one of the only ways that stopped Goku. Kami's a little hesitant about this decision, but Piccolo isn't, as he tells Tien to do it, while he charges up his trump card that he had ready for Goku. Piccolo also tells Kami that he needs to protect him, as this attack takes a long time to charge up, but once Raditz de-transforms, it should be enough to take him out. They then execute the plan, as Tien starts off by blowing up the moon. Gohan and Raditz start to go back to their original form. Goku catches his son, and just to be on the safe side, decides that it's better to remove Gohan's tail now. Raditz starts to get in his right mind, and realizes that he actually wasn't able to defeat any of them, so they all look like they're on their last legs. Raditz's scouter goes off, and he realized that one of the green aliens is charging up a very intense, powerful attack. And it's similar to when Goku and Krillin's power level rised up when they did the Kamehameha, except Piccolo's is far more advanced. Piccolo power skyrockets to even pass Raditz as he keeps on charging. Raditz tries to go for Piccolo and end the threat right then and there. However, the three Earthlings get in his way, trying to stall for time. They're getting beaten down left to right, and even Chaozu's magic isn't really doing anything to Raditz as he just powers through. Raditz is able to launch a couple of attacks at Piccolo. However, they're all stopped by Kami. Kami even goes on the defensive by using telekinesis to send large boulders flying Raditz's way, obscuring his vision, and do whatever he can to support the rest of the group. Eventually, the special beam cannon is ready to go, but Raditz doesn't plan on taking that as he attempts to leave. However, Chaozu grabs his tail, weakening Raditz. Before Raditz can do anything else, Tien uses the solar flare to blind him. This gives Piccolo the opening that he needed as he unleashed his special beam cannon and kills Raditz. They all start to celebrate and Kami starts to heal all of them up. However, Raditz decides to rain on their parade as he tells them that within a year's time, more Saiyans will show up. They'll be even far stronger than him. Now with this knowledge looming over the group, they start trying to make plans right then and there, trying to see what they can do to overcome this threat that apparently is far worse than what Raditz is, especially if there's more than just one. Try to bring up multiple uses for the Dragon Balls, a lot of ways of trying to get rid of these guys before they even arrive, but Kami tells him that it doesn't work like that, as if he's not powerful enough to do something like that, like destroy the Saiyans, the Dragon Balls wouldn't be able to do it either. And that's when they hear through the scouter of someone saying, Dragon Balls, huh? So they can make wishes come true. Well, Nappa, it seems that we're going to this planet after all. Piccolo immediately destroys the scouter. Now they have even more warriors than what they did originally. Now they have a common goal. No longer are they infighting for domination of the world or just petty revenge or anything like that. At least for Piccolo, he plans on surviving. So that means he has to cooperate with everyone around him in order to become strong enough to face these foes. Goku does ask how Piccolo got so strong in such a short amount of time, basically how he caught up to him, along with Tien, as it's clear that Tien has had some form of special training. Piccolo explains that he took Tien under his wing the same way that Kami took Krillin under his wing. As at least for Tien, he didn't like the fact that he was being left behind in terms of power and everyone was getting further ahead of him, so he decided to make a deal with Piccolo. And now they're at the point where they need to try even harder. Kami's trying to make a plan. He thinks for a moment and comes to a conclusion that there might be one person that can help, at least for Goku, as Goku seems to be the only one that might have the best shot at this. However, there's just one small problem. Goku's still alive. Kami explains to everyone that he knows of a person named King Kai that is supposed to be really good at training warriors. The problem is that King Kai resides in the other world, and a mortal usually can't go there by themselves while still being alive. Kami is desperate, and as the guardian of Earth, he must try everything he can at his disposal. And so he reaches out directly to King Kai to see if there's any way for someone to train up there with him. It doesn't even have to be Goku. After some back and forth, King Kai agrees to training Goku. However, under two conditions, Goku has to make him laugh, and Kami has to be there with him to receive training of his own. Kami agrees to this and tells the others that they have to gather the rest of the warriors of Earth that could stand a chance and to train at Kami's lookout with Popo. The plan is to learn as much as they can and then make that final push before the Saiyans arrive to train fully in the hyperbolic time chamber, something that Goku and Kami and Krillin have yet to do fully, as that place is just far too harsh of an environment to survive a whole year in. Before Kami and Goku leaves, Piccolo steps up to them and says that he'll be training Gohan and Tien. Goku and Kami first protest this, but Piccolo tells them that Gohan could be their backup plan. Gohan is far stronger than they realize, especially with the Great Ape transformation. Gohan has showed a glimpse of his true potential. Kami tries to tell them that if that's the case, then he can train at the lookout. But Piccolo stops that train of thought right there, as he says, no, as a child, you wouldn't train him anywhere near like Goku has been trained. I can tell already, Goku is soft. And just like everyone else here, Gohan will be trained soft if he goes with them. I won't make that mistake. Goku and Kami looks at each other and they seem to have the same thought. Piccolo can be trusted, at least for now. Piccolo Jr., though he shares traits with Demon King Piccolo, and it is apparent that he is his own person and thus should be treated as such. And so they follow through with this plan. Kami makes usage of his divine abilities to Kai himself away to the other world and begin training, while Piccolo takes Gohan and Tien, leaving Krillin and Chaozu to fend for themselves and eventually find Yamcha and Yajirobe, who then goes to train at Kami's lookout. All three groups have their own objectives and their own ways of getting stronger. For those at Kami's lookout, they are all training under the tutelage of Popo and retracing the steps that Goku, Krillin, and Kami have undertaken, trying to go even further past that, now that their bodies have better foundation, all with the goal of, before the Saiyans' arrival, complete a run through the hyperbolic time chamber. It is a lot of work, but they come out of it a lot stronger, even beating simulations of Saiyans who should be as strong as Raditz, if not stronger. And as the year draws to a close, they attempt the hyperbolic time chamber, and after a full day in there, they come out beaten, battered, but all the stronger for it. And Raditz is nothing but a forgotten memory. For Goku and Kami, the training with King Kai goes really well. At first, it was challenging. The atmosphere is different, gravity is harder, and there's truly not a lot of room to practice, though they make do. Eventually, King Kai is impressed with the power that they are displaying and decides to teach them his best techniques, one of which is being the Spirit Bomb for Kami, and the other one being Kaioken for Goku. Though they do know how to do both of these techniques, it's clear as day that Kami's not suited for Kaioken. Can use it, but unlike Goku, he's just not physically capable of maintaining it. Though if the need arises, he can cheat a little bit by using his mystic abilities to heal himself and regenerate. He even thinks that if Piccolo had the ability to use Kaioken, Piccolo would probably be a whole different beast, especially since Piccolo has at least shown the ability to regenerate. However, even though Kami falls behind on learning Kaioken, he excels tremendously at using the Spirit Bomb, and he also learned how to copy King Kai when it comes to materializing objects, such as the heavy stones that they use to train themselves in, and the insane weighted gear that they now have grown accustomed to. By the time the year is over, Goku has found great use for the Kaioken, and his body can handle it up to Kaioken times 4. Relatively easy. Past that, it becomes a real struggle, but he is far stronger than what he was, or what anyone thought he should be. But now over to the training with Piccolo, Tien, and Gohan. Just like how Kami has the ability to go to the other world, Piccolo retains an ability to interact with the demon world. He didn't explain it to them, and he didn't show it in his aura, but he has mastered his demonic power to an extent that him and Tien, during the years that they were training together, sometimes found pocket ways to the demon world. However, they barely survived going to these places, as the demon world is a lot more treacherous and challenging than anything they have been in before, going in and out of that place only to train momentarily. However, with the Saiyan Son approach, he doesn't dare to take it easy anymore. He decides to throw precautions to the wind, telling them that they'll only leave around the same month that the Saiyans are scheduled to show up, and thus they begin their training there. At first, the training begins as a mere act of surviving the beasts and the monsters that's in the demon realm, who are more often than not a lot stronger than them. However, as the months go by, they get better at this, along with them training daily with each other, and Piccolo and Tien both teaching Gohan what he needs to do in order to win a fight and not to easily be distracted. Gohan is obviously slow on the uptake, as he is still a child and doesn't really want to do this. However, he realized that Piccolo is serious about keeping him here, and he might as well do what they say, which makes him put his full effort into training. As the months tick by, they become more powerful, to the point where the most dangerous monsters of this part of the realm isn't too dangerous for them. When Piccolo also reveals the fact that there are multiple levels to the demon realm, and they are in the weakest level. But training to be physically stronger isn't all that they do, as Piccolo decides to learn magic, at least demonic magic, and Tien is there with him, though it is harder for him for some reason. So he decides to just devote all of his attention to Ki training and try to replicate some of the magical abilities that Piccolo displays with Ki, which gives him more success. And Gohan, being in the middle of both of these training methods, becoming a monster in his own right, as he's picking things up very fast. Everyone has trained all as they possibly can, and now it's time to arrive back to Earth. Just in time too, as the Saiyans have shown up a little earlier than what everyone projected. With this in mind, Vegeta and Nappa start terrorizing the Earth and causing destruction. That is until Krillin shows up and tells them to follow him to the battlefield. He can sense their power levels and can tell that Nappa is the weaker of the two. However, Krillin isn't as strong as them, not in the least, but he is not worried, and he shows an air of confidence as he directs them to where everyone else is waiting. Kami and Goku is there as well, as Kami has the ability to teleport between worlds freely, being the guardian of Earth. Vegeta is impressed to see him there, but after scanning him, he realized that Goku's far stronger than he should be, and definitely far stronger than when he fought Raditz. Seeing this, Vegeta tries to appeal to Goku and saying that they can team up yet again, though Goku's not having any of it. Angry at this, Vegeta proposes that they fight one-on-one, while Nappa can handle the rest, as everyone is strong, but Nappa should be stronger than them. Kami looks at Nappa, and after getting a good read on him, says that Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha should be enough. Everyone else to preserve their power just in case something goes awry. And with that, the fight begins. Goku versus Vegeta, and Nappa versus Yamcha, Krillin, and Tien. Tien and Krillin are really carrying the fight against Nappa, with Yamcha really just providing the support, as he's the weaker of the three. The fight is even at the beginning, but then Nappa decides to get serious and starts pushing all three of them back, with Yamcha being the weakest one, sustaining the most injury. And just as Nappa thinks he's about to finish off Yamcha, a duplicate of Tien shows up, and then Krillin also duplicates himself. As Nappa turns around and sees that he is being surrounded by all sides, one of Tien's duplicates tries to grab Nappa's tail, only to realize that's not a weakness for him, as that duplicate is immediately destroyed. However, Tien is not discouraged by this. In fact, he gets rid of all the duplicates and goes head first in against Nappa, and then using one of his new key technique, injects his own key into Nappa, disrupting Nappa's key flow, momentarily stunning him. Before Nappa can regain control over his own key, Krillin launches a Destructo Disc, which Nappa does narrowly dodge, but it wasn't truly aimed at him, it was aimed at his tail. And with Nappa's tail now gone, he feels even weaker than what he was before. And now the 3v1 fight starts all over again, with Nappa being at a severe disadvantage. Over with Goku and Vegeta, their fight has been relatively even. Vegeta is surprised at how far a low-class warrior has gotten. He is far stronger than Nappa. He should be far stronger than any Saiyan that has lived thus far. However, Kakarot, or as he likes to say, Goku, is keeping up with him, making Vegeta show more of his hand. And after Goku goes into Kaioken ×2, Vegeta now has to fight with full power. Looking over at Nappa's situation, he realized that Nappa is also being cornered. This fight is not going their way, which only makes Vegeta even angrier, causing him for maybe the first time in his life to push beyond his limits and unleashing blow after blow, and all of them connecting with a devastating power. However, Goku is still in the game, and he still hasn't reached his upper limits of Kaioken. Just as they break off, Goku is about to do just that, go to Kaioken ×3, maybe even 4 to really seal the deal. However, that's when Piccolo steps in front of him, as he says that he's not just here to sit around and watch, as Piccolo begins to charge up his energy. But as he's charging up, Goku notices that it doesn't reach the point of his Kaioken ×2, or won't even get to Kaioken ×3 or 4. Before he can ask Piccolo why he thinks he can win this fight, Goku sends a different type of energy radiating off of Piccolo, something that's not really key, and yet he can almost perceive it. Vegeta doesn't know or care what's going on right now as he decides to attack Piccolo. That's when Piccolo decides to unleash his magic, as he clenches his fist and punches forward to collide with Vegeta's. For an instant, Piccolo seems to have lost this fight, but the dark energy coalesces and purple lightning gathers around him and infuses into his fist, strengthening it even more, actually allowing him to tie with Vegeta. And now everyone is witness to the training that Piccolo has undergone, obtaining the power that is allowing him to temporarily become stronger, and more of this dark energy suffuses him. Kami shows up to heal Goku a little bit, and then he goes over to the trio that was helping Nappa. But Kami's not just there to heal them, as he wants to bring this fight to an end. Kami uses his telekinesis to take hold of Nappa, where Nappa is momentarily paralyzed. Now, he tries to struggle to get up, but some unseen force is holding him down, and he can't really fight against it, especially now that he's weakened due to the loss of his tail. Kami can see that Nappa is truly rotten to the core, as if Kami can see all of the sins that Nappa has committed throughout his lifetime. And even though he glances at Piccolo every once in a while, he can tell that Piccolo isn't truly evil or rotten to the core as Nappa and Vegeta are. So Kami leaves it alone. Looking back over at Nappa, Kami knows what he must do, as while Nappa is still forced down, he gathers all the energy that he can from the world to make the spirit bomb. It gathers quite quickly due to the control that Kami has, and in no time, a ball of pure energy is in his hand. He looks down at Nappa and says, "For the sins you have committed, you shall be judged. If you can be redeemed, then you'll survive. If not, well, you only have yourself to blame." And then the spirit bomb descends down. Nappa tries to fight with all his might, but he just can't get up. And as the spirit bomb connects, Nappa is hit with pain like no other, as the energy ravages his body and then explodes outward, consuming Nappa in a white light, until Nappa is no more. Vegeta, in the midst of having an equal fight against Piccolo, is enraged by this. He now sees that Goku is healed up, all of his allies are healed up, and now he's struggling to fight a Namekian, a race that is known to be peaceful and weak, and yet this Namekian is anything but that. Vegeta, now feeling cornered and not seeing the moon out, he decides to use his final trump card, backing away from Piccolo and unleashing a special type of ki blast that once it goes far enough in the air, it affixes in place and releases a special type of energy from it, one that his Saiyan blood reacts to, as Vegeta enters his Great 8 form. As Vegeta is growing in size and getting stronger, the problem doesn't end there, as Gohan, who has been away from the fighting this entire time, starts to grunt, and he too is being affected, as unknown to everybody, Gohan has regrown his tail. Now there are two great apes on the field, both of them seemingly mindless, at least for a moment, as Vegeta starts to laugh at the shocked faces of all those around, showing for the first time that he is a Saiyan that is in control. Goku and Tien both rush over to Gohan, while everyone else is fixated on Vegeta. He's just too strong to be left alone, and for most of the group to divert their energy from. But as Goku nears Gohan, he can tell that there's something wrong. There's a sinister energy flowing through him, and his great ape eyes, instead of being a shade of red, is actually a deep shade of purple. Gohan opens his mouth and a purple energy beam shoots straight at Goku, and the power from it is so intense that Goku immediately goes to the Kaioken ×3, and with Tien's help, he is able to flash against the beam and cancel it out. But therein lies the problem. It is with Tien's help. For some reason, Gohan is a lot stronger than all of them thought he should be. even with throwing the Great Ape transformation into the equation. Vegeta, on the other hand, is laughing as the situation has gotten a lot better for him. He wasn't expecting that the kid would still have his tail and that he was transformed during this moment. But as long as Vegeta stays out of his range, the risk of them two fighting is minimal. Right now he's outnumbered. All the Z Warriors besides Goku and Tien are facing him, but yet his power is 10 times that than what it was before. He's far stronger than what they can hope to be, and unlike Gohan, he knows how to fight in this transformation, meaning that Yamcha and Chaozu really can't risk getting too close, as it's getting hit one time by Vegeta could put them out of the fight, maybe even permanently. Kami, using his powers, established a mental connection between all of them, so that way they can come up with a plan without Vegeta overhearing them. And after stalling Vegeta for a bit, they come up with a reasonable plan. Back over with dealing with Gohan, Goku is trying to calm Gohan down. However, after trying to reach his son's mind, it is as if there is a barrier blocking him. Gohan's mind is too clouded at the moment for Goku to try to pacify, and this unfortunately means that Goku can't hold back against his son, as he goes into Kaioken ×5 and starts fighting for real. And as Goku is having a stalemate against Gohan, Tien is biding his time. He knows that cutting off the tail is the best way to end this, especially without hurting Gohan, as he has grown to like the kid, and he truly doesn't want to hurt him more than necessary. But thankfully, his talent at controlling his ki is second to none, as he thinks back to the Destructo Disc that Krillin made to cut off Nappa's tail, and then he lies in wait just for the right moment where Gohan is the most distracted to launch his own imitation of Destructo Disc. Gohan dodges the first one, but Tien's not too worried about it as he takes control mid-air and brings it back. With no way to dodge, it cuts off Gohan's tail for good. Goku catches his son before he falls to the ground, and he doesn't know how to feel about his son's development. Dark energy that resides within Gohan might be a problem, especially if Gohan can't master this. Truly, only time would tell. Back over with the fight against Vegeta, Kami decides to execute the plan that they have. Yamcha goes up to the air, and before he gets swatted down by Vegeta, he does the solar flare, temporarily blinding Vegeta as it's the first time he has encountered this technique. Now with Vegeta distracted, Kami decides to try to hold Vegeta down with telekinesis. Kami is struggling, but he has a hold of him, but he doesn't know how long Vegeta will actually stay there. This is where Krillin launches his own Destructo Disc at Vegeta's tail, hoping to cut it off, but Vegeta can still sense these things even though he is blind. He tries to dodge. However, this is where Piccolo steps in, as he unleashes another ability that he has acquired during the year he was training, as he unleashes his gravity magic. And though he is not as strong at it as Kami is with telekinesis, them working together has a pretty profound effect, as basically Vegeta is rooted into the ground. Unable to move, he is restrained, and Krillin is able to cut off Vegeta's tail. And as Vegeta reverts to his original state, without his tail he has lost some strength, he is also surrounded. He knows he cannot win this fight. Piccolo steps forward to finish the job. However, Goku tells him to wait. He says it's unfortunate that Nappa had to meet his end, but maybe Vegeta doesn't. From what they know, Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta are the last of their people. Piccolo understands the reasoning, but he doesn't truly care, as he still seems to be gathering energy to finish off Vegeta once and for all. However, this is where Vegeta makes his last gambit to save his life, as he tells Piccolo that if he dies now, Piccolo won't be able to save their people, as he is a Namekian, and he knows that the Namekians might be in danger. This makes Kami and Piccolo stop for a second. They both think, what could Vegeta know about their own race that they don't know? And that is where we'll end it. This has been a long one, but I wanted to cover all the things that they could have learned during their respective training and how far they truly could have gotten, and maybe show you guys the potential of where they can go from here on out. So I hope I did a good job at that. If I did, you know what to do. Leave a like, comment your thoughts down below. How did you enjoy the episode? And check out my membership if you want to support the channel. And with all that said, I hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you guys later. Peace.